And hey there, hi there, ho there, and hello there. Welcome back to another exciting edition of the Cardinal Couple Radio Hour podcast. It is a sunny and scorching Saturday morning here in Louisville, Kentucky, as we enter day, I think, 13 of an official drought. Well, I guess it's day 3 of an official drought, but 13 days without measurable rain so far, despite the last 6 threatening with thunderstorms that have failed to develop. Uh,
Has has it really been that long since we've had rain?
Measurable, yeah. That's what they
Measurable?
say.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
Huh.
also why the pollen count's so high still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No wonder. And my car is so dirty.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for it to rain.
Yeah.
Well, they keep saying it might storm, so I can't go to the car wash because
Right.
I am obviously not Polly. We're without Polly today here on the show. We're without Daryl, which is a bit of a surprise to us. But you can never know what's going to happen with her. So maybe she decided to get 9 in before it got to be 90 degrees. I don't think you could fit
Yeah.
18 even
With,
with like a 7 a.m. tea time.
yeah, with some random past UofL basketball star,
Well, they're all going to be in town soon, and she
Yeah.
played with the whole like 2013 championship team
That's right.
just about. Oh well. I am Case Hoskins, and along with me, we've got Jeff McAdams, Jared Anderson, and we don't have a ton to talk about this week. That shouldn't be a surprise to anybody keeping up with Cardinal athletics or the Cardinal Couple website. As you can see, we have already started scraping what we consider to be uh, the best available. It's like
Yeah.
when you get to like the
So,
7th round of the NFL draft, or even better, like the 40th round of the MLB draft, and they're just like, random high school player who
yeah.
hit 200 last year. Like, it's just like grabbing whatever you can grab. So that's where we are. We are just about into the full on summer slump. We've got still track and field
Yeah.
national championships. Louisville
That's
with
right.
a pretty good showing or a pretty good contingent, I should say, heading out to Austin for that. But that's not till next week, so we
Yeah.
can't hang on to that just yet. But as always, as Paulie likes to do, we'll get started and see how this first week of we'll call it Louisville summer because summer doesn't start for another 3 weeks. But I think we are just about fully there here in the Ohio River Valley. So see how that's been for the guys. So Jeff, how you been in Memorial Day week?
Oh, it was good to have a short week. I really needed that. I've been saving up my PTO. I got a big vacation in late July, early August, and so I've been kind of saving up my PTO to build up for that, to have enough to cover that. So I haven't taken a whole lot of time off in my new job. I say new job; it's over a year old at this point. Not quite a year old this month. So anyway,
My year anniversary at this job is next month, so I'm with you. How you
yeah, we were about the same time. Yeah. But so I haven't taken a whole lot of time off. So the extra day on Monday was definitely well received on my part. It was good to have that extra day just to kind of decompress a little bit. I can always tell when like my jaw starts getting sore because I'm like clenching my teeth together. It's like, yeah, I need to take a break, take a day here or there. So I've been watching my PTO accumulate, and I've got enough to make it. And it was my company; we can go negative a little bit, so it's no big deal. But so I may take another day or two off in the coming weeks before this vacation happens. So
A
yeah.
big vacation. So you're going to Brazil with the volleyball team? Is that what's
No, no. Presumably they'll be in Brazil and back before I leave. Mine's like late July, and it's a Northern European cruise. So
Ooh, very
Iceland,
fun.
Norway, Belgium, England. Yeah,
Yeah, that should be a good time.
yeah,
I started this new thing this year, and I'm gonna keep it up. I think it was quite nice because there's so long in corporate America between holidays when you are going between New Year's and Memorial Day. I
yeah.
decided,
Unless you get like President's Day or something like that off, one of
yeah, but
those
corporate America, we don't get any of
less.
that stuff.
Well, some places do.
But I decided this year, I was like, you know what's right in the middle? St. Patrick's Day. And so
Yeah.
I've started observing St. Patrick's Day as a holiday by just taking a vacation day on the Monday or Friday that is closest to it and just making it a little 3-day weekend just to basically buy myself a holiday right where there should be one in the calendar. And not make it so long between the two, and that was nice. It was a good little break to look forward to.
Yeah, yeah.
What about you, Jared? Banking world continues, and insurance, I presume.
Yeah, insurance stays busy. People always need insurance, especially after big windstorms that still claim business is still going through over there from March. So, especially a lot of people are like, "Oh, I need commercial insurance now." Oh, well, come on over. Keeps me employed. So I'm happy that stuff's growing there, and we're just got the countdown for the wedding going on right now. We're down to a week exactly.
Oh, a week till the wedding. So yeah, that's exciting stuff. You're gonna be hopping on a plane to South Carolina soon, I guess.
Actually driving down. I'll head down Thursday with my parents. Katie actually will be heading down tomorrow. Do some extra wedding prep. I couldn't afford the extra vacation days. So yeah, this time next week I will be uh, getting ready to throw a tuxedo on.
In really hot and humid weather.
Yeah,
So that'll
at
be
least
fun.
Hopefully
at least the
indoors.
wedding itself is inside, but
Yeah.
the reception is more outdoor, closer to sunset. Giant tent with those industrial size fans blowing on us.
Have fun.
It'll be the reception pictures will be us dripping in sweat, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So will all of the pre-ceremony pictures, which I
Yeah.
assume will also be outside. So
Oh yes, we're. I'm not looking forward to that. It's gonna be carry around a stick of deodorant in my pocket, I'm sure.
yeah, that's a good time. I mean, I don't think as chilly as it was on ours. It was very windy, and then we got married on a roof right next to the river. So um, I wouldn't trade that. I don't think for 95 degrees and 60% humidity or whatever. So you can have that. You can have all of that. Uh, and maybe you'll have some funny things to think back on. It'll just be instead of people's hair blowing in the wind, it'll just be flop sweat for the entire wedding party.
Roof down by the river, was that like Glass Factory or
We were at Fraser. We got married on the roof
Fraser?
of Fraser.
Okay,
Yep.
interesting. Okay, I've been to one at the Glass Factory. It was nice. It was the shortest wedding I've ever been to. The whole ceremony clocked in at under 4 minutes.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so
Wow, I'm for short weddings, but not that short.
it was a bit. Yeah, but I mean, you were on top of the Glass Factory with the wind blowing. Nobody could hear anything anyway. So
Yeah, I hear that. We we actually almost had some catastrophes at ours because the one of the speakers blew over. Um, like pre-ceremony, it was right after we had taken some pictures, and it cracked one of the concrete tiles, one of the concrete roof tiles that they have
wow.
in the area. So had to get some sandbags for that so that they didn't fall on anybody's head during the ceremony. And then somebody happened to none of our elderly wedding attendees, fortunately, but somebody did step on the tile on their way out to go down to the reception and found their foot traveling through it more than
Oh
they
my!
more than
Yikes.
they rather anticipated. But no major injuries there, so that was good. As for me, it was a pretty easy week. Got some people on vacation out of the office. I worked from home most of the week. Popped into the office a couple of times, and it was a good way to ease back in after what was an eventful Memorial Day weekend up in Indy. So, but we're back here.
Yeah.
We're here, and we're
I
looking
mean,
forward to
are,
the summer, I guess.
are we sure that the Indy 500 isn't still going on?
It,
Because
here's the thing: I had to pee from like lap 25, or not lap 25, from like 25 to go. I was like, I gotta pee. It's like the right amount of time. The race will end, and
right,
then they'll do like the parade stuff, and they'll do the victory laps and all that, and then we'll go down, and then it'll be fine.
then
And
it
then
was
there was a
what,
red flag.
3 red flags total?
Yeah, so there's a red flag, and I was like, oh, okay, well that's suboptimal, but we endeavor ever onward. We'll make it. And they start back up, and then there's another red flag, and it's like, all right, now this is getting a bit dire straits here. And then there was a third red flag, and I was like, look, get to the end of this race, and I'm out of here. Like I'm not, we're not sticking around. We're not playing this game anymore. We sit in the second from the top row, row double Q. So it's pretty far up there, and then a bunch of people just like to get onto the stairs and then just wait because they can't go
Yeah.
anywhere because everybody else in all the other bleachers trying to get down.
Yeah.
I didn't play that game. I went down picked my way down the bleachers wherever there was an open spot, and made it to about row F, and then someone kindly let me into the stairs so that I could get down the stairs and then stand in a line of about 40 people in the bathroom. So yeah, we made it. We made
You're
it
not
through to the end.
you're not selling this experience for me.
Hey, it's a great experience. It's just that you need to manage your time, right? You gotta go up at the right time. You can't or plan to go back down just before the race. The problem is when it's that far up, you don't want to go back down because then you gotta climb back up. It's like almost 100 stairs.
I was comfortably sitting in air conditioning in a recliner with my own private bathroom.
We've constantly said if they just put a bathroom up there, cantilevered off the back of the bleachers, or an elevator, or maybe a stairwell that's from the top instead of from the bottom. But so it goes. Our seats are in the shade, which is nice.
That's a big part of it, I'm sure. That
Yeah,
makes it much
it's
better.
like 2 rows in front of us. People are being sunburnt into oblivion, and we're just like, this is nice.
Yeah.
You're right there next to the top, so you got the open chain link back, and if there's a breeze, you get a nice breeze going with it. We got pretty comfortable seats.
Yeah.
But
I did
not that problem. That problem is its own thing.
Yeah, I did that a couple of years ago. First racing level game I went to, I was looking at it and going, wait a minute, where's the sun gonna be? Let me make sure I pick seats that are gonna not be in the sun. So.
We went to the game, the city game last Wednesday, and it was nice. We had pretty good seats. We were like in the section right next to the supporter section. Except it's like who decided to orient the stadium west facing?
Yeah, so you have a big opening for the sun to come in as it sets. Yeah,
it puts a drastic shadow on the field. It's like, hey, this is weird. But
yeah, that video wall puts a monster shadow across it.
While we were talking about it, we decided that probably it gets you a nice view. It's the view that looks at the city, and then just the way the prevailing winds work probably reduces the odor in the stadium the most that they could versus any other facing direction.
Yeah. Yeah, being in Butchertown area, that's a fair critique.
I remember when we were working on it, while we were working on that stadium, we were commissioned to do an odor study for all of the ancillary buildings in the master plan that will eventually go up, hotel and all that stuff. And it's like, we studied the odors; they're there. Like, I don't know what you want us to.
They exist. They're real.
Not much you could do about it, but here you go. So,
I mean, I presume there's probably expectations that open end will get closed in if they ever need to expand. That would be like the primary expansion.
I think that's part of the plan because the intent when they built it was for it to be MLS ready.
Right.
I think it has seats around 10 now, and I think it has to get to 15 or 20.
Oh, I thought it was more than that. I thought it was seats maybe 10, but with
standing room. With standing room only, you get a little more.
Okay. Yeah.
But I think it has to seat like 15 and total capacity like 18 or 20.
Okay.
For MLS regulation. So I think they designed with that in mind. It's actually funny that I was familiar with the fact that something was going to be happening with a potential women's team in Louisville, I think, before quite a few people, because it was while we were doing design. All of a sudden they were like, hey,
we need to seat X amount. Yeah.
Well, it was hey, we need to make a change. And we were like, what's that? And they're like, we need to add a women's locker room. We're like, what? So you can't just use the men's locker room, but if you've got like women's visiting teams, it's like, no, we're gonna do a women's full online. I was like, all right, well, I guess something's going on here. And then lo and behold, NWSL team.
Well, and I'm a firm believer that if you're going to build a facility like that, you build it to handle,
the brand.
Yeah,
why not?
Yeah.
Anyway, like I said before, obviously we are scraping the bottom of the barrel. As
babbling here.
We've made it a whopping 14 minutes into this, so it's not the smoothest. I would say that maybe scheduling and Twitter will take us through some time, but I'm looking at it here and
not a lot. So I was just looking at myself.
Track at NCAA Outdoor Championships, June 7th through 10th. All right, that was it.
That's it.
Their scheduling. That's what the UofL schedule looks like. It's getting thin out here, but that'll be exciting.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Volleyball is leaving on their trip this week, I think.
There you
Yep,
go.
they leave
Yeah,
on
Jared.
Thursday.
They live
Or
on Thursday.
actually,
Okay.
they probably leave Wednesday. I think their first match is like 8th or 9th.
Well, they
Okay.
didn't put that on the calendar.
Yeah, it's not on the calendar. There's not a whole lot of information out there about it. So, but yeah, they've been practicing for past week or two, and all the freshmen are there now. They're also going on this trip. So, um, you know, we had to do the identification game on that the other day. So, yeah, so that's going on. That's a thing. I wish I had more to say about it.
Well,
But-
I'll bounce through Twitter and then we'll just jump into that a little bit more. So, I tweet is at best case scenario. Paulie is at Cardinal Couple. Jeff's at Card Couple Radio and at Jeff McAdams. But obviously not on Twitter very frequently since we were trying to figure out where that picture came from and you didn't see it on Twitter
I
for a while.
I don't usually look too much during the day because I'm working.
Oh well, that's fair.
Yeah, so I saw that from Jared. You sent it to me. You sent it to the group chat, I think, and then right after I was looking into getting caught up on Twitter, I was like, oh yeah, there it is. All right.
Yeah, I guess I could say the same for Jared, who tweets us at Mr. Anderson Jared because he found the picture on Facebook.
Yeah.
not on Twitter. Daryl is at DarylFaust4, and as always, you can check out the right side of the Cardinal Couple website with the Twitter list and widget over there of all the UofL athletic accounts. They've actually had a surprising amount to say, so including softball tweeting about their June birthdays twice. I don't know why, but they did.
You know,
There's
Maddie's
not much
awesome.
else
She
to talk
deserves it.
about.
It's like, hey, there's June birthdays. They're late in the month, but we'll tell you on June 1st, and then we'll also tell you on June 2nd. I haven't checked today. Maybe they'll tell us on June 3rd too. They're just gonna post it every single day. They got
Yeah.
nothing else to talk about. But that gets us through that. So yeah, we were talking about volleyball a little bit. They're heading to Brazil, which I don't know that we've talked about that trip a ton. Wrote about
Yeah,
it briefly in the article.
A little bit, but not a lot. And like I said, there's just not that much to say about it. There's not a whole lot of detail available about what teams they're playing, but or what their schedule would be like, where they'll be. But I mean, there's a little bit out there. Jared, I think you came up with more than I had found. But I do know that the whole team is able to go, all of the freshmen included that are coming in, and all of the both of the transfers that we have. So everybody's going to be there, which is great, and it's a good time. And obviously they get extra practice time to prepare for this trip, which is obviously a big benefit to them as well. So
It
Yeah,
seems more like it's a team bonding trip and not as much of a let's
Yeah,
get our skills in shape from what I
yeah,
can tell.
because they're going to be gone. What, there's like a 10-day trip and they're playing 5 matches.
Yeah, and they're
So-
stopping and visiting a lot of places. It looks like
Yeah.
they're doing a little bit of community service work at a couple schools, which
Yeah.
is pretty cool.
And I suspect you'll see a couple of players who can't otherwise do some NIL work while they're there too.
Yeah, that's perfect for Echo.
Yeah. And then and our new setter who's Hungarian, maybe. So
Because
Pachenko.
visa international players can't.
Yeah, because if you're here if you're in the US on a student visa, you cannot make money. You cannot work
Right.
at all. So
Yeah, I think the NCAA and they're gonna have to. There's a lot of international players, and there's even more of them in all kinds of sports. There's going to be some conversations about that, I think.
yeah, well, but it's not an NCAA thing.
Well,
You know?
yeah. I just wasn't sure which all government entities, federal government entities, were going to need to get listed. But I can see states. I mean, states are leading the way with the way they're writing NIL legislation. There, I can see some people leaning on situations like that.
I
But
guess, man, I don't know.
maybe not. Yeah, they'll just say, stay in Canada to play football. You can play with a weirdly lengthed field and
Yeah.
odd set of downs, and the
Yeah.
goalposts are still at the front for some reason. And
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was going to ask about, or I guess this is more of a cultural exchange trip, which is good. It's something that I think all kinds of players would be thrilled to get to do. And like you mentioned, you get this extra practice time. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about the women's basketball team representing USA in that tournament, and how the international tournament and how that just kind of buys you some extra practice time, especially for a team like Louisville women's basketball this year that's getting a ton of transfers. But Louisville volleyball is replacing some key players, bringing in some transfers, some freshmen. So getting that extra practice time for them is going to be good. And I think it wasn't until this week that we found out that the freshmen actually were going to be able to go.
I knew that earlier, but I may
Just
not
didn't
have
tell us.
communicated that well. Yeah.
It's good. I mean, when you have 5 freshmen and 2 transfers, if I'm doing that, I mean that's about half of your roster. So it's great just to, let the team gel some.
Yeah, it's definitely a big crew. New players. We got 5 freshmen coming in. That's a huge influx of freshmen coming in. Couple transfers. Fortunately, one of those, Charity, joined us in January, so she's had some time with the team already. That's nice, but yeah, certainly anytime you have a chance to do stuff like this outside of the norm is going to help. It helps with the team cohesiveness, which this is already always, I say always, past few years at least, has been a program that has really seen a lot of cohesiveness within the team. It's great to see, and this just helps with that even more.
Yeah, Looper, like you mentioned, she joined in January. I think she played all the spring matches. I want to say Brigitte maybe got 1 or 2, or was she at the end of the spring season?
I think she was after the end of the spring season. So Brigitte, I guess it's Brigitte. I'm not exactly sure how that's pronounced.
Well, eventually they'll put it on the.
They'll put it on there, or I'll ask her
on the roster.
One of the two.
Jeff will get the answer.
Yeah.
But like you said, there's not a whole lot to say about the trip. Like we said, they're doing some cultural stuff. They're only playing 5 matches. I don't think we'll be able to glean a whole lot from results in this. If they're playing a bunch of Brazilian semi-pro and pro teams, they're probably going to get beat quite a bit.
I'm not sure. That's what when I first heard about it, I'm like, they're going to play the Brazilian national team.
Please don't.
They're really good. It'd be a great learning experience. Good opportunity.
Yeah.
But,
you see just how resilient you are in the face of imminent defeat. But yeah, I pulled up the roster. They have not added. They still have the 2022 roster.
Yeah,
so
they haven't updated it. Yeah, so.
No potential voices there. But that gets us kind of through the volleyball discussion as we look to some other international news. Looking over at women's basketball, there have been a couple of Louisville basketball players to sign internationally, as well as have some other successes. Narika Kono signed with where did I put that? The Denso Iris in the Women's Japan League. So good for her to get to go home. I don't think that even when she was, I guess, sophomore year, starting to get more playing time and looked like she might be springing up as a more integral part of the team, and that never really came to fruition at Louisville. I don't think that WNBA was ever really in her plans. I think she wanted to get a good education. We saw that when she decided to step away from basketball briefly at UofL to focus on her academics.
Mm-hmm.
And now she went home, and I think that's really good for her. She's going to be able to continue her career, and exciting to be able to do that in her home country.
Yeah, and I have no doubt we will see her in international competitions quite a bit.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
it's part of the reason I would say to go back to Japan. They're not going to pay a whole lot of attention to the WNBA if you're not getting minutes. And so if you go back to the Japan League and you're lighting it up there, and you're familiar with the players and the coaches and the Japanese basketball administration in general, I would say definitely part of the plan there to get some FIBA competition.
Yeah.
I also want to say that
including some of the 3x3 stuff too, I would think.
Yeah, which we saw she was quite adept at when she participated in that for Louisville.
It's a good fit.
I wanted to say that I saw Jazz Jones sign with someone this week, but then whenever I was looking for any information about that, it completely escaped me.
I missed that. I would love to see her sign somewhere, maybe overseas.
Yeah, I think it was like an Italian team or something, but
it could be.
Either way, I wasn't able to find anything on that. So if you have, Jazz, congratulations. And if not, good luck. But another player that did have some success internationally, Monique Reed.
Yeah.
Mo Reed named the MVP of the Saudi League and winning the league championship. So a big congratulations to her. I think she's still coaching the Fern Creek women's team or girls team, I guess.
As much as she's playing overseas, I'm doubting that, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough to say. I mean, this is like I don't know. It's so hard to keep up with some
really
players
is.
when they are no longer
Yeah,
even the ones that end up in the WNBA, just because coverage is so hard to get a hold of.
absolutely.
Part of that we saw today. Basically, Louisville Twitter was the announcer. Louisville women's basketball Twitter was the announcement of Liz Dixon signing a contract with the Connecticut Sun. I had seen that. You sent it to the group. I was adding it to the article, and I was like, all right, let's find out. Is this like another emergency replacement contract? Is it like a 10-day? What's going on here? And then you Google, and the WNBA website still says Liz Dixon is a forward for the Phoenix Mercury.
Phoenix
And I was
Mercury.
like,
No,
nope.
no.
Sure isn't.
I think this is just a regular signing. Now it may be, I don't know how much like injury type stuff that Connecticut has going on, so it may be a shorter term contract in relation to that. I don't know. Like you said, we don't really have all the full details on it because it really is information that just broke this morning. So
Oh, yeah, and I just ran another Google today, or just another search just now, just to see if they had updated anything, and it looks like.
still a whole lot of money.
Well, this is kind of interesting. So I'm just looking at the WNBA draft tracker, which had it has a transaction list, and Liz Dixon on May 19th signed a rest of the season hardship contract with Phoenix. So that's interesting. And 2 days later was released on May 21st.
Bizarre.
So it's definitely definitely an odd situation there. Similarly, Kalani Brown was waived by Dallas on May 19th, and then on June 1st signed a rest of the season hardship contract with Dallas. The WNBA, as we discuss all the time, just expand the rosters. Like that's the first step towards anything, is just expand the rosters and see where we can get from there. But it looks like
expand the rosters and then expand the franchises.
Yeah, they need to expand the league. That's definitely the next step. It looks like Dixon will be replacing Lauren Cox.
Okay. Was it injury?
Was she?
I don't know.
She was waived. She was waived by Connecticut on Thursday. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You look at, like we've talked about, Emily Ingsler is not on a team, right?
No.
Like, and what's even weirder, so Cox was drafted by the Pacers, or not the Pacers, sorry, the Fever. In 2020, she was waived in 2021. She signed with the Sparks. Then 4 days later, signed another 1-year deal with the Sparks in January of 2022, was waived in April of 2022, which means she didn't even make it to the season.
Jeez.
And then in February signed a contract with Connecticut and now has been waived by Connecticut 5 games in. So I don't know what's going on there, but the way that makes it seem like there's definitely a real roster spot there for Liz Dixon, like we mentioned. But as quickly as teams are, or as quick as teams are to not honor contracts and play the waiver and release game, we'll see if she can stick around. Hopefully she can. I think she can contribute a lot. She always did for UofL when she was able to get on the floor. I think she suffered a bit from, Louisville was always a twin giants kind of thing. There was always two trees for Louisville, and that's not the offense or defense that Louisville was playing, just because it's not the way that college women's basketball was going, and so she wasn't able to display her skills all that much. I think being on a WNBA team where she can be, a rotation forward along with someone else being there in the center, or she can pick up that center role because that's what she's played quite a bit herself. I think she could really stick somewhere if she gets the right opportunity. But we say that about all kinds of UofL players and all kinds of women's basketball players in general, and then they quickly don't. It's but the entire WNBA is kind of like running backs in the NFL, where every team is looking to replace their running back almost every year. It's just like, yeah, every WNBA team is looking to replace all their players as quickly as they can, regardless of where they drafted them or how much capital they spent or what their contracts look like. It's wild. Except for players like Elena Deladon and Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi that play for
Right.
80 years, play for the entirety of the WNBA.
Yeah.
But players that are on teams, Maisha Hines Allen still not made her debut for the Mystics yet. Mystics did pick up a win over Dallas last night, a 1-point victory. But like I said, Maisha not playing yet, so not a whole lot to say there. Chicago was in a 1-point game. Unfortunately, theirs went the other way. Almost knocked off the now star-studded Liberty, who, by the way, as up as the Liberty are, the Storm are down. Sadly, the Seattle Storm are like in the basement of the league at this point. With
can you hear? I guess it was who was it that went out? It was at the Storm. Is now and then went out and they played a game there, and like some of the people booed her. I was like, really?
Oh, well, it was probably Stewart.
Yeah.
Oh, Stewie's,
Stewart.
Yeah, Stewart. Yeah, like some of the people
connection.
booed her. I'm like, really? Most everybody cheered, but there were a handful of boos in the crowd. I was like, come on, folks.
I guess they were like, yeah, well, we've got Sue Bird, and she's been here forever, and now she's going to retire, handing the keys over to Stewie, and then
I get that, but I mean,
we've just spent 10 minutes talking about how insane WNBA roster building is. I think if you're going to get the opportunity to, if somebody's going to give you a bunch of money in the WNBA, I think you'd jump at the opportunity.
Yeah.
you get where you can get.
I think the WNBA just needs to expand teams in general. They need to open up a higher salary cap for the existing teams because, like you mentioned, you had some of these stars like Diana Taurasi and Stewie who command such a high contract that it kind of screws up the rest of your roster in terms of, we can sign this person for 2 days and we got to cut them.
Yeah. Well, and you look at kind of what's been happening in the last couple of off seasons that I think should really be putting pressure on the NBA. And I think more fans you're getting after what happened with the women's NCAA tournament during COVID, that drew a lot of attention onto women's basketball and the disparities.
And
people have been looking at it with the WNBA, and you're getting more fans. You're just getting more eyes on women's basketball. So there's more people paying attention. And the NBA really needs to step up and stop pretending that they don't have the money to support the WNBA with the self-fulfilling prophecy that they've got going on.
Here's the comparison I'll draw. There's a new volleyball league that's getting ready to start up in the U.S. PVF, Pro Volleyball Federation. They're part of their pitch is that we're going to be paying players at levels, out of the gate, day one, at levels, on par with WNBA. Like, okay, basketball, y'all need to step it up a little bit here. If a brand new out of the gate volleyball league is matching well on this
right. Yeah, it's definitely suboptimal. But like I said, the last couple of off seasons, you've seen one of the league's biggest stars out for the entire year because she ruptured her Achilles playing in off-season basketball, or in off-season overseas basketball, and then another one of their biggest stars become a political prisoner, and declare outright that they're not going to play overseas anymore. Like they're not leaving the U.S. And so it's like, you talk about wanting these players to play and be in their best physical condition, and how you can't harm the product by having some of your biggest players not able to play for injury or other reasons sustained while they are trying to supplement their income because you play 30 games and pay whatever they pay when the when the NBA itself is raking in a ton of money. All the owners in the NBA are raking in a ton of money. A lot of the owners in the WNBA are raking in a ton of money from like the marketing deals that they get and the TV contracts, and it's just not trickling down to the players. And they're like, oh well, there's no money to make it happen. It's like, yes, there is. Like we don't have to lie about it, but on the soapbox, I was saying the same as everybody else. I think maybe a step in the right direction. They found some midweek games on ESPN and had like a ESPN WNBA countdown to try to mirror the TNT NBA countdown. And they got a lot of eyes on it, and I think there's definitely some that's movement in the right direction. But like we've said, you can't just at this point try to say we're going to market more and get people to watch more of the games. It's like we're past that point. People are paying attention. People are attending
watching
the games.
Yeah,
like you look at the stands, the arena. Like people are definitely coming out to all the games. You're to the point where people, if the thing that people are talking most about your league is how little players are paid and how the rosters need to be expanded, then you just kind of have to look at that and say, oh, maybe we should address these giant problems that we have.
Yep.
But to bring it back to the former Cards, man, really the Liberty just grabbing Brianna Stewart took us off on a whole tangent there. But Liberty wins 77-76. Dana Evans got just under 15 minutes in that one. She was the sixth player, or sixth man off the bench. Only had 6 points, 2 of 6 shooting, had a free throw, had 3 assists. Not her best game. Certainly not the best she's played recently. The game against the Dream they played the other day, she led the team in scoring. So it's good to see her stick there. I know there was some concern when she was moved from Dallas pretty quickly, but she definitely made a name for herself there in Chicago, and I think she's excited to play so close to home as well. And then AD, I thought that they were out on injury, but they've been playing the whole game. They've been playing like the whole season.
They've been back. They just haven't been like fully 100%, I don't think, but they certainly have been playing. So it's good news. It's it's going to be that long COVID is really. I'm reading more stories of more people that have dealt with long COVID and just how devastating it's been to them. So it's going to take a while, but they'll be back and playing the quality ball that we know they're capable of very soon.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Best game of the season so far. Last night, they did lose to the Aces, who now have the best
roll.
They now have the best opening to a season by a defending champion, winning 5 games. The first team to win 5 games as a defending champion. First team to win their first 5 games as a defending champion since the Minnesota Lynx won 13 in 2016. So usually the WNBA championship curse is pretty strong there, but they did drop that game, lost 92-87. AD scored 13 points in 12 minutes. Had a rebound and an assist, no fouls, no turnovers, 5 of 7 from the floor, 3 of 4 from beyond the arc. So a pretty good game there. Like we said, expecting to see more out of them, and that shot, 5, 7, and 3 or 4. That's what we were used to seeing here at UofL, and so would expect some more from them and from the Dream themselves, or as a team, as that develops. So that's the W. We have fewer players to talk about than we should, I think, in the W.
Yeah, and in WSL, we're still pretty bleak as well. I mean, AKH obviously still with racing, but still recovering from fractured ankle, I think it was, that she suffered in Australia when she was playing there. So haven't seen anything of her. Racing is doing pretty well, but that's a little independent of what we hear about on Cardinal couples. So
Yeah. We talked a little bit about them, and like you said, they've been doing well. They're definitely having their best season.
Yep.
I think they picked up another win after they lost. They broke their win streak, but I think they picked up another win the other night.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Yeah,
they played in Chicago. I think they won.
Yeah, they play again tonight too. So
on the road, right?
Yeah, on the road tonight. Yeah.
But that should be a good time. Looking forward to women's soccer. Should be exciting this season. They've brought in some decent transfers, some new freshmen. Not a lot outgoing. Um, some major ones, but not a ton that we should worry or not a ton on like the transfer roles that we need to look at there. So that should be exciting in the fall. As for the spring sports, those are wrapping up. Softball is in. Our softball is not. Softball, NCAA softball is in the Women's College World Series, but Louisville softball has been having some more players honored.
Academic stuff more. Yeah.
Academic and then All-American teams with Taylor Roby, not Easton Lotus, Taylor Roby, Corby Otis, and Sarah Gordon getting named to the D1 softball All-American lists this week, and then Taylor Roby being named to the NFCA All-American second team on Thursday or Wednesday as well. So some recognition for the Cards there. Roby adds yet another All-American honor to her
Our long list of them already.
Yeah. If players got on the wall for their number of All-Americans, she would just take up a lot of the wall.
Yeah.
All by herself. But it's definitely been good to see Louisville get some love there in individual accolades. They had a good season as far as program history goes, making it back into the NCAA tournament for the first time in a while. Most home runs in program history, I believe, as a team. And then the the outstanding season, an outstanding career that Taylor Roby had.
Right.
Some excitement to look forward to. Easton Lotus really came into her own this year. Corby Otis getting some All-American nods. Sarah Gordon, a revelation behind the plate as a freshman.
I think I call it, like last year I was calling Elena Scott the super surprise freshman. I think we can apply that to Sarah Gordon as well. Like we didn't know anything about her, and it was like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, you get named to the freshman All-American team in the first time there's ever a freshman All-American team, and some of the softball or some of the catchers or the catchers ahead of you, very good. The ones that made the second and first team. So I think Gordon was definitely one of the best. I mean, she won ACC Freshman of the Year, despite being beaten out by two other ACC freshmen for the top 10 list of the National Freshman of the Year. Still can't quite figure that out. Unless my only guess there is that the ACC voters were looking at ACC season only, and
I guess
not the entire regular season. But it's not like Gordon wasn't good at the beginning of the season in non-conference play, but who knows? We talked a little bit about looking at the Women's College World Series. Jared, I know you were keeping up with it. What have they been doing in? I guess last night was the first night of play.
Actually started Thursday, and then Thursday got delayed due to some weather, so they had to kind of wrap up the opening day yesterday and then continue yesterday's plans as well. Alabama officially the first team eliminated. Utah also got eliminated yesterday. The big name there going out was Montana Fouts, Louisville native, that has pitched 4 perfect games during her career out there. It still seems like it's Oklahoma's tournament to lose. Obviously, no losses for them. I think Tennessee's got a good shot at pushing it against them. Florida State still has a good chance to get a good run. Washington's still holding with no losses. Play continues today. Still find it very difficult to see anybody but Oklahoma winning the tournament.
And yet Jared and I are both cheering for anybody but Oklahoma.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually kind of a fan of watching Tennessee play some this year, and their pitching staff as a whole has been really fun to watch. They've got a fast-paced offense that everybody hits the ball, makes contact. Kind of reminds me of how UofL was. Is even outside of your top 5-6 hitters for UofL who could all hit home runs at any given moment, the entire roster this year was able to put the ball in play and run fast. So we're just our offense and Tennessee's offense kind of mirror each other in that aspect, which makes them, enjoyable to watch, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Tennessee, like you said, has been good. Oklahoma is going for their 50th straight win when they play Tennessee today,
and they're working on a three-peat of national champions. Yeah, I'm just kind of tired of hearing about them.
Well, I say somebody to look for. Stanford could be a surprise. They're playing with a loss, so that's tough. Because they played Oklahoma in that first game, but they only lost 2-0.
Yeah, it's a close game compared to how Oklahoma's games typically are. I think anybody who beats Oklahoma, I'll be happy. And Oklahoma's already got the best record in the NCAA history, and then I don't really care to see them get a three-peat. I think they've had plenty of success over recent years. But yes, I was telling Jeff before we started earlier today is I feel like Stanford wins in enough sports just every year that I don't want to see them win.
Like, no, go away, softball. You
but they win in too. They win in sports that like no other schools play. I mean,
but they also win in a lot of the big sports too.
They do win in some
really good volleyball team, really good women's basketball team.
Yeah, for sure.
You guys really need to step it up in softball too. Go away.
Yeah,
it was pretty nice seeing their women's basketball team lose in the second round this year, though. Thank you, Ole Miss.
It's called Schadenfreude, Jared. Some people don't think it's a very good look, but I am not one of those people. I say, have at it. So yeah, that will continue today. Like you mentioned, you've got Tennessee versus Oklahoma. That's at 3 p.m. on ABC, and then Washington versus Florida State tonight at 7 on ESPN. And a video just started autoplaying on the ESPN website for me. Thanks. I've been on the website for a whopping like 5 whole minutes, and it just started playing.
Yeah, lovely, great. Love that when that happens.
Stanford, who we mentioned, that close loss to Oklahoma and then knocked out Alabama, gets a day off for their efforts. They won't play till tomorrow.
I do like this more spread out schedule for the CWCS that they have now.
Yeah.
This also kind of came about a little bit as a result of the whole women's basketball equity thing with Sedona Prince and all of that. And they also looked at some of the other sports. And this was one of the changes they made in response to that to make it a little bit more reflective of how baseball gets a very spread out schedule. It's not as spread out as baseball, but it's also like, softball is not as long of a game. So, okay, a little bit of disparity there, I think makes a little sense, but yeah. It used to be a 3-day event for the whole thing, and now it's like 4 or 5. So.
Yeah, which is insane.
Yeah, to get that many games in. It also gives them just honestly the flexibility to deal with weather delays better, right? It used to be like you get a little rain out there in Oklahoma City, and the whole schedule just blows up for the rest of the whole event. And now, they take about an 8-hour weather delay in one of the games, and then they're like, oh, okay, yeah, well, all right, we're back on track tomorrow. It's like, great, yeah.
Well, because they were only supposed to have 2 games yesterday, the initial losers bracket, and they're like, oh, we can
so they played
final
3
opening game,
and
no problem, and
3
take a break in the middle
and without putting like a team playing 2 games right on top of each other, right? That played in the morning,
a 4-hour break,
and then played in the evening in a fairly late evening game. It actually wasn't that not onerous of a schedule for them. So
yeah, I don't think it mattered much for Utah, who got
they got plastered, but
got beat, fairly handily 4-1 by Washington, and then just absolutely dumpstered by Oklahoma State,
Yeah.
8-0. So
In 5 innings.
yeah, tough for the old Utes there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you look at it, and I think that when you spread schedule out like this, you also get better play. And you're going to get
Yeah.
better games out of the
Yeah.
teams that are able to have the breaks. Even you look at the championship series, and that's played over 3 days now.
Yeah.
There's no longer playing game 1 in the morning, game 2 at night, game 3 the next day if
The
you
next
have
day,
to.
if necessary. Yeah.
So
It's
yeah,
just a better schedule layout, I'm convinced.
one thing that is tough though, looking at the semifinal day, that's all on Monday, and you have the game 11, which is winners from the way it plays out. You've got semifinal 1 scheduled for noon, semifinal 2 scheduled for 7. The rubber match games in those are immediately after. So if one team wins, then they're going to carry all the momentum. If the losers bracket team wins, they carry all the momentum to play again. Or the team that was on the winners bracket side is like, okay, thanks. Now we know exactly what you're going to do, and we're more rested than you are since we've played less. And it's interesting to me that they have them scheduled that way instead of it being semifinal 1 and 2 scheduled back to back, and then the break. But
that is an odd quirk of the schedule, I think. But
I think it's a TV thing
could be.
because that way you're like, yeah, we've got a noon and then we got a prime time at 7. Whereas if you stack them on top of each other, you maybe aren't playing a game at 7 if neither of those teams have to play an extra game. So I get it. It's kind of funny to look at.
Yeah.
As Paulie mentioned in his column earlier this week, hopefully we eventually see Louisville there.
Yeah.
He also mentioned something that was pretty apt, which was to say they need to start by winning games after the regular season conference schedule ends.
Yeah. That's part of it.
But they'll do what they can.
Yeah.
You mentioned it briefly, Jeff. We've had some academic honors coming out. A few more listed yesterday. These are by the College Sports Communicators, which I would say that's a collection of SIDs, probably maybe all of the SIDs across the country. So the CSC names academic all-district teams, and then the players that are named to those are candidates in the pool for the All-American teams. So I think there was
clearly looked into this more than I did.
I read the article today.
Okay.
I read the Go Cards article, and that's where I got. But because I didn't know it until today, because I didn't remember seeing it in one of the other ones where they had talked about players making that all-district team. But Louisville Track and Field got 5 honorees named to that. Soledad Jean, Carly Pujol, Sinclair Savage, Elia Welter, and Zoe Yeast. 3 of those 5 will be participating in. 2 of those 5 will be participating in 3 of Louisville's events for the national championship meet next week. Sinclair Savage and Elia Welter.
We're on that relay team, right?
Savage is on the relay team, and
Welter's pole vault.
In the long jump, and then Welter is in the pole vault. Yes.
Yeah.
It's only the 3rd straight time she made it a championship meet for pole vault, Jeff. But so the congratulations to them. All 5 of those have previously won other academic awards. Namely, all of them had been named to the All ACC Academic Honor Roll, which I got tired of typing today, and so stopped typing it, and it just said Honor Roll. You guys can use context clues when you read. But big congratulations to them, and we'll see if they can continue going forward in that effort and make it to the national team. I think that Savage and Welter probably have a good chance to be named to the All-American team and not just the All-District team, since they're in the championship meet. And then another athlete that was added to those lists yesterday somebody we don't talk about very much because we don't talk about rowing individuals very frequently. But one
There's
of
like 143 of them.
I know, right? And it's one of those things where individual performance is not
Yeah.
really considered that much in a boat that will have as many as 5 people in it for the 4 boats.
Yeah.
Um,
And the 8s are obviously. Yeah.
yep. But one of those
That is a slight exaggeration. There's not 143. There are about 80, though, I think, realistically. Yeah.
I know that they basically look for based on experience with people that I've talked to, they basically look for anybody that played a sport in high school. That is they put out a call pretty much.
Yeah.
If you played a sport in high school but aren't pursuing that sport in college, would you like to be a member of the rowing team?
Yeah. Because it's a fairly purely just like athletic and fitness endeavor.
Yeah,
Like
if you're
there is
and you
technique.
have rhythm, then
Yeah, there is technique. Obviously, there is some technique, but it's not like it can be learned fairly quickly. So,
but Louisville's effectively the team captain. It doesn't list her as such in the article here, but she was the coxswain of the first varsity 8 boat. So Louisville's
Yeah.
top boat, and then the leader of that boat seems to me pretty much team captain. Ellie Grosser was named to that academic all district team. I don't know if she's got the performance results to make it to the All American team, but she had a 4.0 GPA through her 4 years in molecular and cellular and developmental biology.
Cool. Yeah, that's
Right?
impressive.
Like you had a 4.0 in that. I didn't. I wrote an article. I didn't try to list all the accolades that she has won for athletic or for academics. It's basically like the 80s honor roll, the Dean Scholar, and the Red and Black Scholar for a ton of semesters. That's which will happen, if you maintain a 4.0 in a rigorous discipline. But to do that while also performing as a student athlete, incredibly impressive. And so, hat tip to her for sure. And good luck, I guess, being a lab biologist, and maybe you'll find something cool in research. Because I don't know what else you would do with that, right? Unless that's a pre-med track. I guess it
Could be.
Um,
I don't think it's necessarily so, but it could be.
who's to say?
Yeah.
Like I wrote the article. My last biology class was freshman year of high school.
Yep.
So
You and me both, man.
I was happy to not have to take organic chemistry.
I got a D, and I was happy with it.
Yeah. Orgo is like almost too close to biology. I'm like, no, living things, they're tough to deal with. So was happy to end at Chem 2, which I managed a C in by like 2 points on the final. That stuff's not for me. I prefer things that I can see and work on to figure out how those work. But that was, UofL's latest academic exploits. I think that gets pretty much all of the academic honors for spring sports named, except for obviously the CSC All-American teams, which will come later.
Yeah.
So we'll just be looking for any more.
And anything that comes out of the NCAA track and field championships, if they do like an Elite 90 or something like that.
So their All-American teams will get named from that. Any more spring sport All-American teams that trickle out, I guess those could happen. I expected the last of softball, but then we got another one for Roby. So some more of those might come out late, but we will see. Fortunately for us, we did make it through our hour because, oh boy, I was just about out of topics to try to scrounge and find. So I am going to take the load off of myself and let somebody else go first with their final thoughts. So you guys can draw straws and go.
I have one ready, so I'll jump in. I mentioned PVL or PVF earlier, the Pro Volleyball Federation. There is and there is a new signee for it. Tori Delphi Stringer has been involved with this. I think her father is one of the backers of it, actually. So Trent Delphi, but so Tori has been involved with it from the very beginning. But this week we also saw that Claire Chaussee was signed by the Grand Rapids, Michigan team. PVF will start play in 2024. But Claire already signed up for that to play there. So, and I think they're still looking for a couple other franchises. They've got 6 or 7 around the country at this point. So that's a developing thing. I'm hopeful that we'll have a great professional softball league here in the U.S. soon.
Yeah, so I guess they'll finish their international seasons. Claire and Tori.
Yes. Yeah. Well, they have at this point. They may play another season before starting PVF.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, the international season's pretty short, just a few weeks.
What do you got, Jared?
Not much over here. Just countdown for the next 7 days, and then here in just over a week. Yeah, I guess right at a week I'll be married and have a ring on my finger. So excited for that.
Congratulations and good luck.
I'm gonna need all the luck in the world.
I didn't take mine out of the realm of women's sports just because this was something crazy that happened that I wanted to mention. The NCAA baseball tournament started with regional play yesterday. One thing is funny, which is that the Railbird Festival is this weekend, and so Kentucky is hosting their regional, and all the teams have to stay in the dorms.
Because there's no hotels within an hour of Lexington.
There's no hotels. I imagine there's probably some IU and Ball State and West Virginia fans in Cincinnati and in Louisville.
Yeah. But like all the people working it and the players and
unfortunate situation. But fortunately for Kentucky, they were not one of the 3 teams that three hosting teams that lost their first regional game yesterday. Which is
that's
crazy.
Rough.
Yeah. But that was my final thought. That's could be setting up for an interesting College World Series, men's College World Series on the baseball side, or it could just get some of the competitors out of the way, and then some of the top teams just waltz to a championship. But we'll see. Thanks as always for joining us, and until next time, go Cards.